You are listening to the Shopify Solutions Podcast, a podcast for Shopify store owners that brings you concrete examples on how to build and grow your e-commerce brand. Your host is Scott Austin. He owns a Shopify agency called Jade Puma. In this podcast, Scott will share his e-commerce insights and best practices with you.
Hey, Scott Austin here. As a Shopify agency, I get to see a lot of Shopify stores, and I have to evaluate those stores and help them determine what to work on to improve their business. As such, I've actually developed a bit of a methodology for how I evaluate a store. And in this episode, I'm going to walk you through the way I think about evaluating a store so that you can maybe learn something from that and apply that in your own evaluations of your own store. To get started, I'm just going to open up a Shopify store that I found by doing a random search on the internet, and it's called California Physicians Supplements. Now, I'm not going to evaluate this store in detail, but I am going to use it as something to point to while walking through the way I think about evaluating a store. So if you're listening to this on audio, you're going to be totally fine, but there is an accompanying video if you want to look at that and visually see what I'm talking about. Now, when I'm evaluating a store, I think about two things overall. One is trust, and the second is confidence. Now, those terms sound like they overlap, but the way I think about trust is, does this store evoke trust in the brand or the company? And then on the confidence side, what I look at is, does this experience give the customer confidence that the products they're selecting are the right ones for their needs? So I think of trust happening at the store and brand level and confidence happening at the product decision-making level. But everything I'm looking at is asking those questions. Is this helping with trust and or confidence for this customer? And when I evaluate a store, I always start with a product page because for me, that's the most important page type in an online store. That's where the real conversion actually happens. So I'm just going to open up a product and then I just start looking at it and thinking about certain things about that product. And what I'm going to be looking for is at the product level. So now at this point here, the customer's made a decision that they think this product is right for them. And does the page that I'm looking at give them all the information they need to make that purchase decision? Now in the store I'm looking at right now, there's a few things that are already popping for me that I do not like. One of them is this big section at the top of the page where they're putting their value prop. Let's call it their one-liners. This is real doctors, real studies, real results. And I actually like that, just not at the product page, right? If I'm on the product page, I've already made a few steps along the journey on this store. I've probably seen that motto a couple times. I don't need to see it on the product page. They also have a bunch of product seals on the product page that don't map together. They're very disjointed. They just pulled graphics from different sources, and it looks unprofessional. And then I look at the choices that the customer is making in that product. So in this product, there's a few variant choices to be made. And it says select supply. And I don't understand what that term means, right? That I would find that confusing for customers. And then they have one-time purchase, $39.98. But above it, I see a price of $44.98. So already I'm seeing there's going to be confusion for the customer. There's some inconsistencies on that page that it's just going to, make the customer go, huh? I don't get it, right? And the next option is subscription, but they've also got a subscription box down below. And then there's a buy 5, get 1 free, save money, buy 10, get 3 free, save more money. I just think it's really confusing for customers. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to give, options for people, but it's done in a pretty poor way. So I would, when I'm evaluating a store, I'm looking at how they're providing the options to the customers, and are the customers going to be able to understand those? And many times, it's very hard to understand at a product level the decisions we're making. And a lot of times, and this store is guilty of it also, they're putting way too much information in that variant selector, right? So I look at the buy 10, get 3 free, and they've got that in a button, not a drop down, which I like. But also what it says in that is save $119.94. Just way too much information there on that button that I'm clicking. It makes me have to read a lot more information and keep those in my mind as the customer of this site, all in parallel while looking at the 4 different options that I have. And then I always look at the add to cart button and see what color it is. I always want the add to cart button to be the brightest thing on a product page. In this case, it's blue, and I would prefer to see it as a bright red. And I want to see that add to cart button color bright, dominant, and the only thing in that color. So there's, no question in the customer's mind where they should be clicking. And then I want to look at the type of information that they're giving about the product. What sort of photography is there and what sort of copy is there, and are there any videos? And I want to see all three of those. They've got, because this is a supplement site, they've got the typical Photoshop rendered bottle, but what they do have on top of that is they have a little infographic which shows some value props, and I like that a lot. They've also got the supplement facts panel, which is really good information. It could be a little bit bigger. There's no video on this page. There's a couple paragraphs of text. I would want to see more information on this page, because this is something that somebody's taking for their own health, right? So it's really going to be really important to them. And I would want the store giving more confidence to that customer about the benefits of this product. Now I'm going to read the first paragraph of the text. Fiber Care TM, so they got the little trademark thing on there, which I can't stand. Fiber Care is an ideal daily supplement containing the highest quality blend of essential soluble and insoluble fiber for colon health, weight management, and detox. This is actually not as poorly written as many supplement sites do it. It's a little more less scientific. It's a little less doctory than a lot of the supplements do, but they could still do a better job. What I always recommend to store owners when they're writing the product copy is to literally imagine yourself talking to a customer. Nobody talks the way we write our product descriptions. But if you actually sat down, I have actually done this where I record my voice explaining the product to somebody in my mind, right? And then I take that recording and I transcribe it into text, and I use that as my starting point for the copy of the product description. This one sounds, a little better than most, but could still be done a lot better. So I'm looking on that product page for, are you delivering as much information about that product as possible? I think there's room for a lot of room here for opportunity to show more information. And then I also look at things like they've got the share by tweet and pin it and all that garbage. Nobody's done that since 2007. That just get rid of those dang things. And then on a product page, what I'm also looking for is if the store is going to be cross-selling the product or upselling the product, how they do that. Most stores do it really poorly, right? There's a related items section in most themes, which uses the algorithm that Shopify provides, and it comes up with related items. And we're used to seeing that in Amazon, right? But in the world of Amazon, where they've got maybe 4 billion, if not like 400 million products for sale, they have no confidence when you land on a product page on Amazon that you're on the right product page, because they have so much content, right? And they don't have a curated shopping experience because their catalog's so long. They can't have a curated shopping experience. But most Shopify stores can have a very curated shopping experience. So when your customer lands on your product page, you should have a lot more confidence about them being on the right page than an Amazon does. So you don't have to do an Amazon best practice of related items. Now, if the related items actually are related to this product, then what you need to be doing, instead of showing these other products on that product page, you also need to be selling that bundle. So let's say this supplement goes along with these other 3 supplements for a regimen of some sort for people's health. Well, you could show on that page, hey, this product is also part of this bundle. Would you rather buy the bundle? That's a good related items promotion. But just showing other products that are at the same level as the current products you're on is built into Shopify, but it's really lazy for us as store owners to be doing that. We know more about our products than that, and we can do a better job in cross-marketing. Now, other times, you may have, a supplement in this case that goes along with this other supplement, but not always, right? So you could bundle it, or you could have, a little checkbox to also add this to your cart at the same time. That's a little bit better than the just at the bottom of the page navigating them to another product when you've already done all the work to get them to this product page. Now, another thing I like to see on product pages, remember I said I want to see all the information the customer's going to have questions about on that product page. For me, that includes things like a shipping policy and a return policy, which this store doesn't have up there, but I would look for that type of information also. And then when I'm done evaluating the product page, I'm going to move on and add that product to the cart and see what the back end of that shopping experience looks like. So in this one here, when I add the product to the cart, I want to see what sort of cart comes up. What happens? Now in this case here, it says continue shopping or check out. So I stayed right on that product page. I like to see a little more activity happen than something like that. Either go to a cart page or have the drawer cart pop up. But something happening a little bit bigger than that is usually more reinforcement for the customer that, hey, I actually did add this to the cart and it's in my cart now. If I scroll up, I can actually see that the cart in this one does have it in there, so that's good. But I would have wanted to see more. But this is, it's not the worst thing on the planet. Now, the options it gives me are continue shopping or checkout. So I'm going to hit checkout, and it actually took me to the cart, right? And for me, it's those little details that most stores don't do a good job of in actually putting the right phrase there. It wasn't checkout. It was actually continue to cart, right? So it should have said continue to cart because now I see a checkout again. I just hit a checkout button on the last page. Now I got another checkout button on this page. And now as a customer, I'm like, did I do something wrong? Or is this an amateur store and should I not be buying from here, right? I've lost my confidence when something like that happens. So you want to be careful, and this is what I do in my evaluations, is making sure that you're connecting the verbiage used on one page to the verbiage used on the next page. So in this one, it's a cart. It should have said cart on the previous page. And now from here, I'm going to click onto the checkout and just see what kind of branding. Oh, that is awful. That is awful. What I really don't like is when stores use their business model to drive the user experience, because I think what stores should be doing is driving the user experience based on the customer, not the business's business model. So what happened when I clicked on the checkout button? There's a line with a text box for me to fill in, and the text says, who were you referred by or none, ? And that's required, right? It didn't tell me that before I clicked the checkout button. But now when I click the checkout button, I see a little dialogue say, please fill out this field. So now I know it's required, even though it didn't say it and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, that's just a horrible experience because now I'm questioning myself once again, like, what's this none referred thing? I don't understand this thing. Maybe I'm just going to leave. I don't like this kind of thing. So what's happening here is the store is optimizing for their business model. They probably have, affiliate system, which makes a lot of sense, but they're making the customer manually fill that information in and requiring to do that or say none if they weren't referred by somebody. So you're making your customer do extra work so that you, the business, can give the lead the money that they earn from this affiliate lead. Just really, really horrible, right? But I'm going to put in none, and I'm going to go into the checkout. And all I do when I look at checkout is I want to look and see that they've branded the checkout, because a lot of times stores forget to brand the checkout. And then I also want to look at, are they using a one-page checkout or a three-page checkout? Most of the time, like 99.9% of the time, the one-page checkout is the way to go. And I also want to look at what payment types they're accepting, and do they do any help to the customer of making that checkout payment type a little less confusing. I think that the Shopify checkout, where they have the express checkout at the top of those buttons, is really confusing to customers. And right below that express checkout buttons, there's the word or. And I always change that or to or use your credit card. So customers are clear, I can pay with PayPal, I can pay with Venmo, or I can use my credit card by filling out all that information down below. It's one of those little things, but those little things really help improve that customer experience and build that confidence for the customer that they're doing the right thing. Anytime a customer has a little question mark in their head, that's a chance for them to feel nervous or anxious about what's going on. And when that happens, they abandon, they leave. So when I'm done looking at the product, the cart, and the checkout, then what I start looking at is the decision-making engine that's above that gets people from the home page or wherever they land on the store down to that product page to make that decision. Now, a lot of stores just create a list of their products. And that list may be broken down to different collections, but basically they just throw all their products on a collection page using the default abilities of collection pages, and they're done. And what I like to help stores do is turn that list of products into a decision-making engine for the customers. So let's see how this store does it. And the place I start at that is I look at the collection pages. So I'm just going to pull up their all products page and see what that looks like. So when I look at a product page, and especially an all products page, and if it has more than, let's just say, a handful, 5 or 6 products, I want to see tools on that page to help the customer understand the differences between the products. By default, what happens a lot of the time is when you use your product titles and put it on a collection page, it's not explaining the differences between the products. A lot of products look very similar, and it's our job as store owners, creating that curated shopping experience, to let customers understand what those differences between those products are. So you might, for SEO purposes, have a really long product title that includes your brand, some benefits, and all that kind of stuff, and the product title in there. But on the collection page, you may want to simplify that to explain why this product is different than that product right next to it. For example, if you were selling t-shirts and you happen to have the red one and the blue one as different products, you might not explain all the things that are the same about those t-shirts, like cotton, short sleeve, yada, yada, yada. And you might have the only difference be red and blue, because that's the differences between those products. You don't have to explain the things about them that are the same. You have to explain the things about them that are different. One way we do that is by showing on the collection page a title that shows the uniqueness, and sometimes use MetaField for that. Now, another thing you want to be doing on a product page that has lots of products on it is adding filters. The store I'm looking at right now happens to have just the tag filters. So they've got all their tags, which is, just a list of tags. And you also, when you start looking at those tags or whatever filters stores are using, I'm always evaluating is there a finite list that they're picking from? So for example, if we're using color as the tag, is there blue, red, yellow, green, and are they spelt the same way all the time, caps and small letters and those kind of things? Or do they break down blue into 16 different types of blue, like navy, aqua, baby, turquoise, and that kind of stuff? A lot of times stores try to be really accurate about things, and that actually makes it more confusing for customers. So for example, if you have a list of all your colors and somebody's filtering based on color, and that list just shows, I always do Roy G. Biv, right? So I do red, orange, yellow, green, blue. I do purple instead of indigo and violet. And then I add black, white, gray, and usually pink to that list. And that is all I use on the collection page for filtering of colors. On the product page, I might have selectors that say aqua or teal, but on the collection page, it's all going to get bucketed under blue, right? Ruby and garnet, those are all going to be bucketed under red. And that way, there's a short list of colors for customers to pick from that are easy to understand the differences. Instead, what a lot of stores are going to do is they're going to show all the brand names of colors like the aqua, garnet, ruby, teal, and all those, and their list of colors on the collection page becomes 30 or 40 colors long. And that makes it harder for customers to understand which one is the right one for them. If they like blue, they can click on blue, and then they can see all the variations of blue that are available, instead of trying to understand, there's aqua here and teal down there and navy over there. So on the collection page that I'm looking at, having that list of just tags is actually a really poor job of allowing customers to filter which products are right for them. So that one-dimensional list of tags, it has some overlaps, like one is GNE myopathy, which I have no idea what that means. Maybe their customers do. I would doubt it. And then there's one right next to it is GNE myopathy treatment. So those should be combined into one. And they've also got things on here like new product that's not useful for their customers, right? That's once again the business thinking about them, not about their customers. So what I'd want to see here is structure behind that. And that's why now with Shopify having metafields that are so rich and flexible, it's much easier for us to create a structure. So right now I'm looking at supplements, and maybe a way that people are going to search for the right supplement for them, they might look at what their problem is, or what their health goal is, or what the body area is, or what the ingredients are, or what the dietary constraints are, all those kind of things. I could think about building out multiple meta fields with lists of those attributes and assigning those attributes to each of the products, and then displaying that on the collection page with filters. So if somebody's looking for a solution to help with memory as they age, and they're also vegan, they could click on the vegan and the memory and find the right products for them. So in the collection page, I'm looking at all those different elements. Are the products explaining the differences between them? Do I have tools that let me find the right one for me so that I'm confident as a customer in the decisions that I'm making? And like I said, most stores do not do this. It is low-hanging fruit for most stores to go in and fix that type of experience. Now, I start off by looking at the all products collection, but I also want to look at other collections because you really don't want your customers looking at your all products collection because you want them making decisions before they get to that. What I like to be doing as I build out that curated shopping experience is I like customers to be making one decision at a time. And when they make a decision, it takes them to the next page and the next page. So we start off with products. Above that, we have collections. And above that, I usually build what I call a list of collections page. So in a list of collections page, you're actually not showing products. So let's say in this supplement store that one of the categories they have at that top level is vitamins, right? When the customer clicks on that vitamin link, I wouldn't take them to a collection page. What I would probably take them to is that list of collections page. And on that list of collections page, we might have decisions that they get to make, like vitamins for children, vitamins for men, vitamins for women, vitamins for seniors, whatever those categories are that are appropriate to the products they're selling. But instead of taking them to a page that shows all the vitamins, we're going to let them make a decision along one of the big buckets that they are going to be making anyways. And that way you're, once again, taking those decisions down to one decision at a time as best as you can. And then when they go onto the men's page for vitamins, there might be another list of collections page that says, vitamins for men in their 20s, vitamins for men in their 30s, vitamins for men in their 40s. If you offer products that, are that granular in their offering. And what I see a lot of people talk about is how many clicks it takes to get to the add to cart button, and they optimize for that. Now, that is a best practice that does exist on the internet, but that best practice is best applied for a one-product landing page site. When you have a store with hundreds of products, you don't want to optimize your whole store so that it's only 3 clicks till they get to the add to cart button. Because when you're optimizing for 3 clicks to the add to cart button, what you're doing is you're actually giving the customer less confidence because they're making less decisions, they're less educated along the way, and therefore they're going to abandon that shopping experience more. So don't over-optimize for number of clicks to cart. What you need to be optimizing for is the confidence the customer has when they click that add to cart button. And then the last piece for me in evaluating that shopping experience and the confidence the customers are getting is the top level nav. Now, I look at the top level nav here more than I do the home page for the shopping experience because the top level nav is what happens on every page on your store. And you never know which page people are coming into your store from. A lot of brands will put a lot of energy into thinking about the shopping experience starting from the home page and not enough energy into thinking about the shopping experience starting from any page, and that's done with the nav. And what I want to see in the nav is nothing but shopping links. Now, the exception to that I usually do is for artists, because if you're an artist selling your art, you are part of the product. You're one of the reasons that people are buying that product. So in that case, there'll be shopping links up there like paintings, drawings, and all that kind of stuff, and about the artist. If you're selling supplements, I really don't want to see an About Us at the top, although there are exceptions to every rule, especially if your brand is all about you and not a more anonymous brand. So when I look at that top level nav, I don't want to see just one shop link. I want to see the first level of decisions you're going to be making about shopping. In supplements, that might be vitamins, health goals, and dietary, or whatever the right categories are for the products that they have and the way the customers shop those products. But I want to see horizontalized in that nav a lot of shopping links and not things like blogs, About Us, and in the news and all that good stuff. And I also like to look at the mega menus that people are doing. Mega menus look great, but mega menus can be really confusing. So if you have a mega menu that pops up, literally a lot of them that I've seen have 50 different choices in a mega menu, Customers really aren't going to understand the differences between all of those, and it's hard for them to think about that. Maybe you take them to a list of collections page instead that has those 50 items broken down and categorized so they could see, oh, here's block A for men, and here's block B here for women, and block C for children. And they have a little bit more information besides a text link or a small image to make that educated decision so that they have confidence in how they're moving down that funnel. So that's the end usually of my evaluating a store confidence, right? I start with that product, go down to the cart, into the checkout, then I go up to the collections, look at what those look like, then I look at the decision-making engine above collections to see if there's a list of collections type scenario going on, and then I look at the top-level nav. Then I shift to thinking about the trust that this store establishes through its experience with its customers. And there's a lot of components that contribute to trust. Things like the brand, things like consistency, things like mistakes, all add up to trust or not trust in a store. So there's no one thing that I'm looking at when I'm looking for the trust in the store, but here's a couple things I do look at. The first place I go when I think about trust is I go to the About Us page. Most Shopify stores are small businesses. A lot of them are family-owned. A lot of them are solopreneurs or two-people teams. They're not big corporations doing hundreds of millions of dollars. And what I always tell my small brands that I'm working with is your product is also available, most likely, on Amazon and other places. And customers aren't shopping on Amazon right now. They're on your store because they don't want big. They want small. So tell your story. And what I always tell brands is, don't make up your story. Don't try to be big. Don't try to be small. Be who you are and explain that to people. On the About page, I always say to my clients, I want to see puppies and babies because dogs and babies make you look human, right? And I can connect to those people. I don't want to go to an About page and see our corporate values are blah, blah, blah garbage, right? So on this one here, the store I'm looking at, I look at the About Us page and it says, conceived with purpose and passion, and I'm already saying this is going to be garbage. California Physician Supplements was launched in 2005 to provide proactive nutritional support to healthcare professionals and their patients, blah, 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 blah. They've got a stock photo after that. They've got a just the facts thing. And then finally at the bottom, they actually have a photo of a person and a quote from the owner, right? That's awesome. They should have started with that at the top. And a brand's willingness to tell a story and be authentic and honest about that thing is, to me, a really big sign of should I trust this brand or not. Then I'll also look through the rest of the evergreen pages like the contact us, the refund policy, blogs, and all that. And what I'm looking for when I look at those pages is I'm looking for consistency in brand, in voice, and professionalism. If you have a lot of errors on your store or you click on links and it goes to an empty page, those are big red flags for people to not have trust in that store. And then I'm also going to look at the social links that the store is displaying. So for example, this one is showing a Facebook link. I want to click on that and I want to see that they've posted recently. And here I can see the most recent post is December 5th. As I'm recording, this is now February 8th. So it's been 2 months since this store posted something. Now the way to think about that is, if you're posting frequently on social, that's a sign that this brand has living, breathing bodies at it so that when I place an order, I have more confidence that someone's going to fulfill that order. Now, 2 months ago isn't that bad for many brands on social. I've actually had a lot of clients who the last time they posted something on their Facebook was 3 years ago, and that's a definite red flag. If you haven't posted in 3 years on Facebook, take your Facebook link off your store. I'm not saying you have to post on Facebook. All I'm saying is, if you're not going to post on Facebook, don't promote your Facebook. And I'm going to look at this one's Instagram also, just to see the most recent posting that they did. Now, in this case, they posted back on December 4th also on Instagram. So once again, I probably wouldn't be spending the effort doing posts if they're so infrequent, and I wouldn't be promoting them on my website. Now, if the brand is posting on social frequently, what I like to see is an Instagram feed on the homepage. And that's not to drive traffic from the web store to the Instagram. It's just to show what I call a heartbeat. And by showing that heartbeat of, hey, we're posting regularly, That's going to give the potential new customer confidence that there's going to be somebody to receive that order when I place it and fulfill it for me. Now, another thing I forgot to mention when I was showing you the products and walking through that part of the experience, and the reason I forgot to mention is this store doesn't have it, and that is I want to see product reviews, and I want to see what customers are saying about the products. And they don't have reviews in this store, which is why I didn't notice it. But I'm always doing a check to see if there's reviews from customers and how frequently those reviews happen. Because if you go to a store and the last review is from a month ago, once again, you're not going to have confidence that others are buying this product. So why would you be the first one in the past month to place an order? But if I go to the store and there's an order from today or yesterday, I have a lot more confidence that others are using the store and happy with that experience. Therefore, I'm going to have more confidence that I can use the store and have a positive experience. So I'd want to see on the home page a feed of your most recent reviews, and on product pages, I want to see product reviews show up. I did find a link in its header, which was kind of interesting, where it was kind of buried for client testimonials, and I clicked on that, and I went to a empty page, right? Where I said it's going through evergreen pages. You want to make sure that you don't have empty rooms, because those just show that you're not paying attention to your own store. So you're probably not going to be paying attention to your customers. And this one did have a customer testimonials link. I clicked on it, and it went to an empty page. And then the last thing that I look at when evaluating a store is the homepage. When I look at the homepage, I'm not just evaluating the homepage. That's when I start thinking about the overall brand also, right? In this case here, the brand's name is California Physicians Supplements, and they've got a little palm tree in the California, to evoke that California sense. And I'm going to be looking at what colors that store is using, because those really come through on the homepage a lot, and if they map up, and what fonts they're using. Is there consistency in the fonts? And if you look at, if they have an Instagram feed and a reviews feed on that homepage, you want to see that they've done the work to customize the branding of those added on elements to map to the overall brand that they've set for the store, colors and fonts. And what I see a lot of brands do with their homepage is they try to answer every single question possible on their homepage. What you need to realize is the homepage has two purposes, right? The first purpose is to let people know they're in the right place. And the second purpose is to get them to their second page if they are in the right place. So you don't have to do everything on the homepage. What you have to do is say, this is our value prop. If you're looking for supplements, you've come to the right place. Right? If someone was to land on a supplement store, but they're looking for sporting goods, and it says, we sell supplements, they know they're in the wrong place, and they're gone. But if someone's looking for supplements, and they land on the supplement store, and it says, we sell supplements, they know they're in the right place. And now your homepage, all it has to do is get them to their second page. Now, mostly, that should be your shopping experience. But you can't take people from your homepage to a product if you have more than 5 products in your store. Now, 5, 6, whatever, we could argue what that number is. But if you're selling 20 products, you should not be promoting products on your homepage. You should be promoting decisions, right? Decisions might be supplements for men, supplements for women, supplements for children, whatever's appropriate for your product catalog. Too many brands are trying to promote their products, and too many of their products, and drive people too far down the funnel before they've made the decisions they need to make to have confidence in the products that they're looking at. Now, of course, there are exceptions to that. Some brands will have new products on their homepage, and that'll make sense for that brand. But for other brands, new products doesn't make sense, and we should be promoting that shopping experience. And I'm also looking on that homepage for, are they very clearly saying we sell supplements, however they're going to do that in any given store. Now, this one actually has that element I talked about before that shows up on every page. Real doctors, real studies, real results. Like I said before, I like that. It's actually missing stuff to me, because real doctors, real studies, real results doesn't say supplements. Now, right above it is the logo, which says physician supplements there. But that can also be confusing, right? Is this supplement website only for physicians? Or are these supplements physician approved? Are they from physicians? So that's where you need to be really clear And that homepage, I call it "You Are Here" sign, the front banner on your website is this is what we're selling and this is why we're different than everybody else. I see a lot of stores go too quickly into that second purpose of the homepage, which is to get people to click to their second page. The first purpose, remember, is to let them know they're in the right place. So spend a little time on your homepage making sure customers know they're in the right place and understand why you're so awesome. And that's the general structure that I go through when evaluating a website. And when I evaluate a website, I usually do it in a recording so that my clients can look at it later on, refer back to it multiple times. And those recordings will usually take me anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, because I'm going through kind of in minutia of detail, nitpicking lots of things, finding all the little details. Because for many stores that are doing most of the stuff right, those little details are the things that can really make them notch up their level of professionalism to the next level. Now, I do offer this site audit as a service to anybody who wants to sign up for one. If you're interested in that, you can go to my website and purchase that. There'll be a link to it in the show notes. But hopefully I've given you enough of the way I think about evaluating a website that you can go and take that first stab at evaluating your website on your own using the structure that I've given you here. So please take a look at your website, use that critical eye, and take it to the next level of establishing trust and confidence for your customers. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Shopify Solutions Podcast with Scott Austin. This podcast is brought to you by Jade Puma, a Shopify-focused agency located in San Diego, California. If you like what you heard, please leave a review and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to work with Scott on your brand, email him at scott@jadepuma.com.